Hello, my friends and viewers. You're welcome to this edition of my Liberation Gospel, Sexual Jihad and the Fierce Urgency to check poverty. Actually, before I talk briefly on that, it's pertinent to condemn what is happening currently in Umuahia. Messages have been sent to me on the invasion of Afaruku in Ibeko, Umuahia. And it's important that important people in Nigeria is beginning to condemn that invasion. Like I said yesterday, the military in different parts of the world and in the history of the military, it's to protect its citizens. The military is not meant to intimidate and kill or maim without any cogent reasons. Yes, I said the military can kill. It's part of their job, especially when territorial integrity of the country is called to question. But we have to understand that the issue at stake is the issue of Nigerianness, what affects every Nigerian, the direction of the country, and the questions or the issues raised by the leader of the IPOB. It's something, these are matters that are resonating across the country. It's not only a southeastern thing, it's not only a southern thing, it's not only an Igbo thing. We have always called for a roundtable conference to talk on if Nigeria is going to remain one or not. But because of the fact we know who we are dealing with, because of the people that are in charge, that have always believed that the country belongs to them, we know that they are not likely going to sit down with anyone to talk. Hence, our demand for the Republic of Biafra. We're not demanding for the Republic of Biafra as a matter of ideology or as a matter of we don't want to share with our brothers who are from other ethnicities and nations. But it's because there's lack of progress. I'm not doing this liberation gospel for the sake of talking. I have a lot of things to do. Many of you who do know me, if there's nothing to do, I can keep writing or doing some of my private things. But I've seen that many Nigerians are not aware of what is happening in the society. And that's why I keep thanking the social media for giving us the ample opportunity to talk. It's making everyone on the spot journalist, is making people to share ideals, to share ideas, to share pictures, to share videos, to share history. And attacking or intimidating your citizens when there are cogent security threats to the country, it's laughable. This is why they're calling Nigeria a zoo. There's Boko Haram to go and attack. Boko Haram has menaced Nigerian society, especially in that northeastern society, for a very long time, going as far as taking swat of land, and they've been unchecked. It's all propaganda. Today, this commander is dead. Tomorrow, we have killed 3 Boko Haram commanders. The next day, there will be bombing in the market. Are we not? What about the herdsmen that are terrorizing people across the land? So before I digress from what I want to talk about today, it's sexual jihad. And when I say sexual jihad, a lot of things are put into consideration, and there are attendant problems that have come up from that sexual jihad. If you've been following my liberation gospel, I have one way or the other talked about the mechanisms the Fulani used in perpetually subjugating the Hausas. One of that tactics is premiership started with the invasion of Osman Danfodio and his cohorts. So you can see today that we have emirs in virtually non-Hausa place. We have it in Yoruba land, in Ilorin. Ilorin is a Yoruba city, but they have emir. Emir Gambari is a Fulani, but he's in charge of Yoruba land. So, and that is beside. So, one of their tactics is the sexual jihad. I call it the sexual jihad, in the sense that once they invade your land, they take your women, and that culture is building up in Nigeria. The culture of that, the attendant problems with that sexual jihad is building up in Nigeria. This particular aspect of the sexual jihad, because when they conquered the Hausas, they took all their women, especially the beautiful ones. You know, they tried to procreate with them, rear offsprings with them, and the next generation keep mixing their blood, and that's why it's very tough for the Hausas to separate. I met one Hausa man, a lecturer. I discussed with him. He told me, you know, the consequences of this, how many of them have been thinking of a way to stop this, but it's very difficult for them, in the sense that this sexual jihad has taken roots since 200 years now. So it's extremely difficult. However, there are still part of Fulanis who have refused to mix up. You can see Buhari. Buhari is a typical Fulani. Typical Fulani, they are light in complexion and very skinny. So many of them refuse to mix up with. There are still others who have mixed up with Hausas, not only Hausas, but with the minorities, and they are extending it to other parts of the country. And how are they extending this? They're extending it through poverty, because if you see their kind of administration, fiefdom, they run their territories in a fiefdom way, whereby the emir is in charge of the land. The emir is in charge of everything. The land, wealth, you know, access to wealth, education. I went to the north and I saw that what actually the boast of is true, that they are born to rule. In the north, they are born to rule, whereas others are born to follow. It's not the way we operate in the south, particularly in the southeast, whereby, you know, anybody can rise to lead, or anybody can rise to become rich, or anybody can rise through talent or through sheer determination to become what he or she wants to be. So this sexual jihad, it's one of their tools, because there's let me give an instance now. If a woman is raped, if armed robbers invade your place and rape the occupants, assuming the woman gets pregnant through that forced intercourse, the child, she's one way or the other, she has to love the child. It's something, she carried the child in her womb, so it's part of her. So whether she ab initio wanted to like the child or not, she's not going to abandon the child, because the child is a child, and as a woman you have to love your child, because it's part of you. Notwithstanding that a rapist planted his seed in her, and that is what is going on in the north. This has gone on for 1806. I mean, if you heard me well, the Fulani Hausa Wars ended, I think, around 1808 in the 19th century. So, from that time till today, and that's why in the north they hold sway. In the north, nobody challenges them in the north, and there's nothing they can do. Why there's pockets of resistance today against the Fulani herdsmen? It's because the social media has come up. The South has been given impetus, inspiring minorities in the North to revolt, to challenge the dominance of the Fulanis there. Because check most beautiful northern girls, they are married off to Fulanis and Hausas who are very loyal to the Fulanis. The Fulanis hold sway. Then make no mistake, do your research, because I've done research on this. Many of them are, many girls, if you are resistant to that, then you won't live. Many families have been massacred. Social media is bringing us a new, it's having attendant problems, bearing kids in other social vices. For instance, in Nigeria today, we have a culture of sexual exploitation, because you've seen that the leadership feigns ignorance to sexual exploitation that goes on in Nigeria. Rape in many places. There are a lot of attendant problems. For instance, sex for employment, sex for favors. You look at the banking industry, the era of the sex for opening up of accounts through marketers. We are aware of the time of new generation banks when young girls were all employed to be marketers and they'll be given certain amounts that they are going to generate in order to sustain their jobs. Many of them slept their way through sustaining their jobs. Even in the universities, this culture has spread. Sex for marks, sex for favors from lecturers, especially lecturers who whose take-home pay cannot take them home. Many other attendant problems, because the system is bad, because the administration feigns ignorance to this, because the people at the helm of affairs support this culture. This is a culture in Nigeria whereby girls are raped every day. Nobody talks about it, and it's something. Is a social stigma to say you are raped in Nigeria, because marriage is something that is very important. Girls has to get married. If you're not married, you won't be respected in the society, and your family could even go as far as disowning you. So you see, many girls are raped, but they wouldn't talk about it. But all these things in Nigeria started with the sexual jihad, and it's spreading seriously, and we are kicking against it. That's why they can do anything to be in power. Look at the way many girls are moving to Abuja. I remember after finishing my youth service in Sokoto, some of our girls stayed back. They never got a job. Even while we were doing our service, they were being serviced by Alhajis, giving them serious money. Some of them were even taking care of us because we were broke, and they had to buy us things, buy us food, buy us drinks. They had the cash. Some of our schoolmates in school. So this is why they are spreading poverty in the country. They're spreading poverty in the country so that they can have the wherewithal to do whatever they want. They are spreading poverty in the country so that they can have the local standing to rape women, giving them favors, giving them employment. You see today, just a complimentary card from Core Northerners fetches you a job in Nigeria. And this is horrible. This is horrible. And that is why we must begin to look deep into this. Because there are attendant problems to what Nigeria is suffering. It's not all about electricity. It's not all about this. There are many things that are going on. The society has decayed because the people that are running our society are very bad. They are very mean. They are jealous. They want other people to serve them. They've succeeded in conquering the North, so they want to extend that sphere of influence to the South. And they are doing this through sexual jihad. By sleeping with our girls. Many of you may know what happened during the Civil War. During the Civil War, many of our women were carted away. I've said it. I'm from Owerri, Omogoma. Owerri was a theater of Civil War. Some of my aunties were taken away. I know one of an extended aunt who had 2 kids for an Hausa soldier. Though at the end of the war, when things ended, peace came, she returned. But many of them, their lives were shattered. Those who refused to change their religion to become Islamized, those who refused to stay there. And you can imagine, this has continued to go on. And today, there are many kids. There are many kids that some of our women had for them. Even some of our ladies in around who depend on their benevolence. I wouldn't want to say much deep because I know that a lot of our people are hiding some of these secrets. But it has to stop. And the first way to check this is tackling poverty, helping our people. If you are in a position to assist. And this is why we're fighting to have our republic. It can't be stopped. Whereby our women will be empowered. There will be job for our people. There's no job. What do you expect our young girls to do? That is why we must rise up to support our society. Those who are capable should assist our people, because when there's no job, what do you expect people to do? When families are suffering, go to the universities or colleges of education or polytechnics, you see that a lot of things are happening there. Our young girls, when they lack, what do you expect them to do? They have to support themselves. They have to pay through tuition. They have to sustain themselves in schools. And because of the inherent problems in that Nigerian state, a lot of rubbish happens. Go to the universities, you see lecturers sleeping with girls and nobody does anything. Girls has to give over their body for marks, and these lecturers are not brought to book because those at the helm of affairs are doing that. The other one is the rise of sodomites. It's happening. Sodomites, it's like a club now in Nigeria. Fanny Kayode the other day accused Rocha Okorocha as a sodomite. It's like a club. If you join them, you begin to rise, and they'll be sleeping with you. Well, I'm not here to condemn anyone, but all I want is that we must find a way to check the spread of sexual jihad. Through this sexual jihad, they are mixing, they are coming, they are encroaching. These are mechanisms that took a long time. It's a planned way to Islamize the rest of Nigeria, and most of them they don't tolerate if they are married to you. If they are married to you, those who want to share this, you can share it. How do I share this? You can just take a link or share it to wherever you want to share, because we need to spread this message, especially to our girls, because our culture abhors this, and this is a way that they are using to encroach into our land. There's something that a friend told me in Ohafia. There's a military barrack in Ohafia. If you live near some of these barracks, most of the Nigerian military guys are Randy. I don't know if you can do your research on Liberia and Sierra Leone. You will see the damage caused there by the Nigerian military. Sleeping women, procreating, abandoning children there. This is their culture, because we don't have a culture of having children and abandoning our children. This is not the culture of my people. So, but these people, they care less about abandoning their kids. They, through these barracks, I gave instance with Ohafia barracks, or even go to Obinze in Owerri, particularly Ohafia, because through these barracks, they are now spreading, raising offsprings with these women, and because many of them are empowered. Some of you are conversant with what is happening in Nigeria, the poverty that is prevalent in the land. Since they have access to cash and wherewithal, they support these women for the message on how it's gonna be stopped, because we don't have anything in common with these people. These people are dangerous. They have sex with cow. Somebody who will have sex with cow. So what do you expect from that person? That person is dangerous. He's not. We don't have that kind of mentality and ideology. Having sex with cow. So it's terrible. So my brothers and sisters, I want you to spread this message of sexual jihad that is spreading in Nigeria, and it's bringing on attendance problems. It's an illicit culture that is becoming prevalent in Nigeria. It's spreading, it's metamorphosing into many other monsters. Like I've said it, sex for favors, sex for employment, sex for marks, even going as far as having sex with the underaged. This is something that is part of the connote. It's not. We're not. This is not our culture. We detest that. But in a society where we are sharing things with these people, what do you expect? Before you know it, they said, "Show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are." When you marry off a little girl as old as 13, 14, 12, 11, a girl who is not strong, whose sexual organs are not yet ripe, what do you expect? So before you know it, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria marrying a girl as young as 12 or 13, and nothing, nobody gives a hoot about it, and the law doesn't take its course. After watching this, go and Google the marriage cap in Nigeria. I think they've reduced it. They've reduced it because they are used to marrying underage girls. And at the end of the day, many of these girls have problem. There's this medical problem that is, they call it, I think, fistula something. Some of you are very conversant with that than me, so you can say that. So I condemn in the strongest term this sexual jihad that is spreading. It's spreading. They're now abducting girls in the south to the north, having sex with them by force and using all manners, all method. We are Africans. We do know many things. Some people even use charms. Some use the Magana Kurantashi and all those things. Plus the empowerment their people. We've seen what Buhari is doing. Though he's sick, there's a cabal of his people running the government. They are putting in their people in strategic positions. That you lack money, that you are crying Nigeria is in recession. The recession is not part of their story. They have access to. Because look at the young lady in charge of Nigerian ports authority. She was involved in the scam of Chibok girls with Obi Ezekwesili. Okay, where is Obi Ezekwesili? Obi Ezekwesili is co-founder of the Chibok girls return. Is now the MPA. She's in charge of the Nigerian Ports Authority. Nigerian Ports Authority generates billions of pounds every month. Nobody talks about that. We think that where the money is in the presidency or ministry of this on. Nigeria Ports Authority, Nigeria Ports PLC generates billions. We don't talk about that. What about the customs? There are many parastatals. Nigeria is a very rich country. That's why some of us are very mad about what's going on. And they are stinkingly rich. We are looking at oil. Everybody's looking at oil. There are parastatals in Nigeria. That's why countries like Great Britain wouldn't want us to split, because it's a very big market and they are gaining. They are gaining seriously, making billions of pounds of us. And imagine those who have oil, who have these resources, the people that are this market don't even have 24 hours electricity. Their girls has to sleep, give their private parts in order to be gainfully employed, in order to get certain favors from their own country. Go to towns that Harbour Barracks. You see what I'm talking? The soldiers there are sleeping with women there, married women, sleeping with them, intimidating their men. And nothing happens. The system doesn't frown at this. You see that many children, they are fathering children of this woman. And because the DNA test is not prevalent in Nigeria, it's very costly. If DNA test is conducted, if many people, it's happening in the West here. I think in the future you see it will start happening. Secretly go and take your kids to DNA test and see. Towns like Ohafia, Obinze, many of these towns that you have military barracks, they are sleeping with young girls, sleeping with married women. And when objections are raised, the intimidation, the intimidation that is synonymous with the Nigerian military. Look at what's happening in Omar, invading a sleepy quiet community, instead of them to go and fight Boko Haram or to go and stop the Fulani herdsmen that are killing people. They are going to. This is where they have strength. They have strength over women, over our women. And you see what happens. Their women, they lock them up. They use Islam to lock them up. I remember when I was in Sokoto, I had this girl, a Fulani girl, who really liked me and was bold enough to tell me that she liked me. And so something started happening. And before you know it, the dad got away, and the brothers, they tried to attack me. And the father invited me and said, for me to have anything to do with the daughter, that I have to change my religion to Islam. Change what? Will you force me to change my religion? And why should I change my religion? You see, that's there because they love women a lot, but they're very jealous. They will lock their women and go and be raping other women. That's what happened. And through this, they are spreading their jihad. You know, when they take off this woman, they force them to change their religion. You can see the likes of Miriam Babangida, them. You see that the beautiful woman from Asaba. Some of them that were taken during the war, and immediately after the war, when there was poverty across Southeast and South, you know, we just came off the war, so everybody was down and poor, and even those who had who had money in the bank. I mean, if you survived the war and have evidence to collect the money, you are given only £20. So you can imagine, our girls had to look for other means to survive and even sustain their family. Some of these girls had to offer their bodies. Some of them were married off. Some of them had babies with these guys in order to survive. And this is continuing. So we must check this. And the first way to check it is checking poverty. Checking poverty. We must learn to empower each other. We must assist ourselves. This is what they are doing. Look at what they are doing. Buhari has gone into power. They are appointing their people, and he's giving an excuse that he's appointing those that he's used to. He's appointing those he's conversant with. He's appointing those he can trust. And some stupid Nigerians are taking that. They said, what's wrong with it? These are the people that he's comfortable with. Whereas you are saying you are running a federation of different people. So when these people are empowered, they themselves will now have the local standing to do what they want. Our people also wanna onye jigo kewu neso. Onye jigo kewu neso. This is why you see many single girls in now Abuja, you know, federal job, because they are the permanent. They are majority as permanent secretaries. They are permanent secretaries in federal ministries. How are Gigi them? So this is why this fight is a fight to finish. We have a destiny. We have a date with destiny to correct these anomalies. We can't keep quiet and this will be happening, because before you know it, if you keep quiet, it will come to you. This problem will come to you. It's happening. Look at what they did the other time. They just removed Christian religious education and put in Islamic education gradually. encroaching into your mindset, your mentality, diffusing all doubt and helping you. Why can't people be educated? Why can't there be a level playing ground? I mean, if a girl wants to sleep with you, it should be her own making. It shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be coerced. It shouldn't be because of the fact that she's going to get a job, or because of the fact that she doesn't have wherewithal, because of the fact that you can intimidate her. This is why, the West has passed through this, and they have a law. They have laws to check these things. Whoever you are. So, brothers and sisters, this sexual jihad must stop. We must find a way to stop this. And the best method to stop this is to stop poverty. And that is why we are agitating to have a Republic of Biafra. Though some people will think this is not going to come, but I know it's going to. We don't need America. We don't need. What we need is for Nigerians to come together and decide on the way forward for the country. Because the system of the world today, it's if we can be able to bring Nigeria to its knees, then we'll sit down and discuss. If they want restructuring, fine, we discuss about it. If they don't want, nunc dimittis. But restructuring can never work, because these people are not the people you can live with. They're very bad people. They're very jealous, extremely jealous. They are cannibals. They're inhuman. They don't have value for life. And anybody who doesn't have value for life can do anything. They are rapists. And see what is happening. The fact is that they are daft and they want to lead. If you know what you are doing and want to lead, we don't have any problem with that. But a blind man cannot lead people with 2 eyes. It's unheard of. It's uncalled for. It's anti-progress. It is inhuman. We can't allow that. So we must be fearless. We, especially the women. I thank God we have a